The DFW Metroplex couldn't be more excited about the fact that Caleb Downs was the Dallas Cowboys' first overall selection in the NFL Draft, number 11 in the draft last week. And today on the Ultimate Dallas Sports Show, we have the distinct pleasure of welcoming in a gentleman that coached him a few years ago, just a few short years ago, the head coach at Mill Creek High School in Georgia, Josh Lovelady. Good enough to join us. Coach, good morning. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure to talk about Caleb Downs.
Yeah, Coach, we have gotten that distinct picture from a lot of people over the course of this first week that we have come to know him as a Dallas Cowboy. Everybody that has been in his orbit in any way, shape, or form seems to love this kid. What was it like to coach high school version of Caleb Downs?
Well, it's tremendous. Number one, the opportunity that I had, the growth that I saw from him being a freshman, a little skinny freshman all the way to senior year, how his recruitment took off, as well as on the field. And even right now, everybody sees what he did at Ohio State, Alabama, the cut-ups and all those things, but also what he did off the field. A lot of people didn't know he was a 3.9 GPA kid. He was a National Honor Society. He volunteered with the best buddies. So his growth as a human being and as a young, from a boy to a man, has been tremendous to watch. But we were truly blessed. He's got a lot of things. I can talk for hours about all the things, that his characteristics of being a man of character.
I assumed that we would talk about both his play on the field and then who he was off of it. When you think about both of those things, when he left your program, what is it that you missed about him most?
Probably his preparation. He was above, he prepared like he's playing for the Cowboys. The expectations of a young 15 to 17, 18-year-old when I had him, he was the kid on Sundays that was texting me saying, "Coach, are the cut-ups ready yet?" As a freshman, he wanted to know what was going on. The preparation, as far as he was in our program 4 years, and we're in the biggest classification in the state of Georgia. Won the state championship his senior year, but in 4 years, I'm talking about summer workouts, spring, everything. He missed 2 days. One of them was because his flight got bumped on a Notre Dame visit in the summer for a summer workout. And the other one, I made him stay because we were at a 7-on-7 that took up a Saturday in the summer that he was supposed to go to official visit for Alabama. So I said, you're not going to shorten yourself one day to figure out what your visit is. So those are kind of some things that, the idea of his preparation as far as his journey was above his maturity on the field. Heck, I'll tell you a funny story. I had at least 3 times that coaches came to me, probably more, that I had buddies that said, "Lovelady, are you stealing our signs?" Kind of like Michigan and all that stuff, the drama I had in there. And I said, "What are you talking about?" And it's still like, what? No, we're not. We don't have enough time for that. He says, "We're a high school program. We don't have somebody over here with binoculars in the third row." And he's like, "Because every time we played you last 2 years, we'll have the ball on our hash, and Caleb's over here calling out what the routes are. He's like, here comes smash route. Here going. You've got dig, dig, dig." And I'm saying, "Coach, it's not about signals. It's that kid was so prepared that he knew whenever number 7 was here and number 9 was there, your tendencies were that this is the route was going to come." So that's probably with the preparation of a young, high school student. A lot of times, if you have kids, any of y'all have kids, that they're knuckleheads. They're going to forget things. They're going to be distracted by swiping or TikToking or whatever it is. His laser focus was great.
Coach, to that end, I saw a story about a time in practice where you thought he was out of position, but turns out he wasn't.
Yeah. I thought I finally got him. He's one of those kids with the preparation, you're going like, okay, so what's my job as a coach? If he's going to do all this on his own and he's going to be the kid that learns and when we teach things, he's got it. The rest of the class, we may have to bring up or may have to remediate. We may have to, let's go review that again. Let's run that play again. You didn't get right. You weren't in the right place. Well, we're in a practice. I think he was a sophomore, and he's supposed to have outside leverage as safety on this route. And I'm like, I knew this. I knew this coverage. He's supposed to be in a certain position. He wasn't there, and so I'm standing over there. I'm like, I'm gonna let this develop out, and then kind of like, hey, I got you. Like you messed up. And this again, he's a sophomore, not even a junior or senior. He's just barely getting over there. Well, here comes the play. The quarterback looks down. He's going to clap and do all the stuff that we all see in the NFL and college. His eyes go down. He pops inside, and it changes leverage to be right and gets a pick. and because he was totally duping with the quarterback. He's totally doing stuff that in college and pros that we do as a sophomore in high school.
That's unbelievable.
Incredible.
That's absolutely unbelievable. To be doing
16.
that as a sophomore is crazy.
Yeah.
I know you saw that at a bunch of different points along the way throughout his high school career. Are there any other moments that you can point to that, hey, this was different? This was a kid that was operating on a different level than the rest of high school football?
Well, probably a couple different stories. Number one, we were in adjustments at halftime, and I think I put this in another interview, is he was at a total different level. And the tough part for us, just like any part of any team, whether it's at the radio station or whatever it is, everybody's got to be on the same page. There's the things with Caleb was up here as far as his understanding the game. And a lot of the kids, it's high school. Just like the pros, you're going to have different levels of veterans being out there. So when he was a junior, senior, we would make adjustments, and he would come with ideas and say, Coach, all we got to do is roll cover 3, and I'll pick up this, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, whoa, Caleb. I says, you're on AP calculus, and these guys are still in algebra 1. Like, and you had to go like, yeah, but it's not that hard. I'm like, it's not that hard to you, Caleb Downs, but it's hard to this other that doesn't have like Superman on there. So that's probably one of the biggest things, of doing items like that, his preparation, his toughness, that people don't realize. He had turf toe when he was a senior, and him and I, anytime we got into it, was like he would stare a hole at me on the sideline like, I'm good, let me go, because he played offense, he played defense, he played every game, every snap of defense, and I'd let him roll in offense. He scored as Wildcat quarterback, he threw the ball as a quarterback, he was a receiver, he was a running back. So he did a lot of different things. The only way he returned kickoffs and punt returns as well. The only way he didn't score is kick the ball through a field goal, and probably he could do that if he would needed to. But his senior year, he went through shots, metal plates, because he had turf toe. I don't know if anybody's ever had it, and it's extremely difficult to deal with. The only really way to do it is to rest. So he's doing all this, went through 3 or 4 different pairs of cleats because they tape it and everything else. But my point in saying this is how tough a kid he is too. As far as resilience of going like, hey, I'm going to play. Like that was one of those like, yeah, it doesn't mean you have to practice. You've been starting for 3.5 years. We're about to be in the playoffs. He says, I'll make a deal with you. If you let me go one day, all right, we'll end this conversation kind of thing. I was like, okay, all right, here we go. This is, one day. I'm negotiating with an 18-year-old, which is totally crazy. But when it's Caleb Downs, but the thing is, everybody gets to see that's on the team and says, holy cow, this is our alpha. That is arguing, not arguing, but I'm saying discussing, like, put me in, coach. Where normally a kid would go like, you mean I don't have to do practice? I can just go play on Friday? That's awesome. All right. So as far as what we're missing when he graduates is that locker room presence, that game, that practice of everything. What he does is he elevates the people around him. And I'm sure he's going to do that at Dallas because he's done it at Alabama and he's done it at Ohio State. I mean, some of the stats that you see, he doesn't go get on the field with those kind of programs and do what it become All-American unless he does some great things.
Well, we know that Jerry Jones likes to negotiate directly with players, so it sounds like Jerry's going to have a different challenge this time around with Caleb Downs.
Coach, I was curious. There are countless examples of guys that are coming up through the high school, college, and NFL ranks that slowly change their personalities over time. Has Caleb changed at all from the kid you knew growing up in high school?
Probably the biggest thing, and I think it's probably with maturity and where the positions he's had to come with. What I mean by that is his ability to speak, public speaking. I remember when he was a young kid, as a sophomore, here comes, Ohio State, here comes Clemson, here comes all these Georgia, these guys recruiting him that are coming in, they're big, like people you only see on Saturday. So there's a little bit of having a conversation with a boy and with grown men in the recruiting process. Now you see him in interviews, it's like he's naturally talking, saying he's very polished in the way he talks. So it does maybe in the field of play, but it's as far as way he's always been able to handle himself and communicate and be above his years as far as maturity wise. But just the ability to be around people and having these conversations, because let's be honest, you're in the media too. They're wanting to have some tough questions at times, right, that you got to realize, hey, what lens am I looking for? And that 5 seconds of how do I answer this the right way? That's probably one of the things that I'm so impressed with his age, is being able to handle all that.
The other thing I was going to ask, college football, especially these days, has been super close to the NFL. It's almost a professional enterprise in terms of how it's run. Given the programs that he's played for, how much do you think that prepares him for this next level?
Oh, 100%. Number one, he's a winner. He won here at Mill Creek. We won a state championship. He started 4 years as soon as he became in high school. And then he goes to Alabama. He's leading he plays for Saban, which, let's be honest, I mean, I'm not a guru, but I know enough from 30 years of high school football. Saban's system is Saban's system, but there's been a ton of defense coordinators that have tweaked it. And sometimes there's not a rhyme or reason to it. So it was a very difficult system to learn. He goes in there as a freshman, and he ends up starting leading the team in tackles. And then here he goes to Ohio State. He goes a different defense coordinator, and then he goes to Matt Patricia for the third year. So he has three different coordinators, and excels at three different systems, if that makes sense. So that shows a lot as far as his development, and I think that has prepared him for the NFL to be able to say, "Hey, coaches come and go in the NFL. You're going to be able to adapt." Some players don't do well with that. I mean, you hear about all the time about quarterbacks. Well, he never had to take a snap under center, so how is he going to handle that? So I think that's where his journey has his success at different levels. He's never had something he hasn't, been able to come. Now, it's a lot of hard work. I think one of the funniest stories that I got from Alabama, I'm calling. He's an early enrollee in January. It's March. And I talked to his position coach. I say, hey, how's my guy Caleb doing? He's a coach. He's phenomenal. He's going to be playing. I'm telling you, he said, you're right. The things off the field he does. And I said, I'll give you an example. We're at Alabama. We're having a staff meeting. Saban's in there. And all of a sudden we hear a blood-curdling female scream. And so we all get up from the staff meeting. It's 10 o'clock at night. We're working, midnight hours, burning the midnight oil. And we all come out of there going like, what's going on? And sure enough, Caleb's in a dark corner of the DB room, has his headphones on. He's taking notes, watching video. Here comes a lady that's the vacuuming the place at Alabama. She doesn't see him in the corner. All of a sudden, they pop up and see each other for about three, and she's scared to death. And he's going like, "Whoa, I did, he scares him too." So the coach is like, "Yeah." So here comes 20 people come to save the day, and he's going like, "All I'm doing is watching film at 10 o'clock at night." So he said, it's a pretty cool story of what the DB coach told me at Alabama. Just the idea, here he is, a kid that just graduated, really didn't even graduate, and he's over here, getting film time.
Well, and as I understand it, that DB coach that was with him at Alabama when Saban retires, he went to Georgia, correct? And I know that there was at least some consideration that he could have just followed with, but decided to go a different direction.
Yeah, I think it was the easy fit would be is go with the guy that knows you, that as well as everybody knows Kirby's in the tree of Saban, their defense. So he was a coordinator for him and played there. So that would have been the easy, but I don't know. Caleb Downs doesn't do easy. To be honest with you, he loves a challenge. Loves a challenge on and off the field. I think him being able to learn a different system. I think it was at the time Knowles up at Ohio State, and then obviously Patricia with an NFL system. The idea of the challenge of learning something different, because he always had the vision of being in the NFL. And a lot of people just say it, but I think his actions really backed it up. Because it was tough to leave Alabama now. It was very tough because he had his friends, he had his buddies. He did not want to leave, but he just, he felt like that was a challenge needed.
Coach, when you think about all the kids that you've coached over your tenure, I'd imagine there are several that have left some sort of impact on you. But when you think about where Caleb Downs kind of sits within the kids that have left a mark on you, where would you say that he ranks, I guess?
Wow. Again, 30 years, there's a lot of kids, and a lot of them are different. A lot of them came from single parents, single moms, so you had to be a father figure, which makes you as a coach a little bit different dimension. He didn't need that. He had a great family. He had a great family structure. So every kid's a little different, but I'm telling you, he's in the top few as far as kids that the way he handled himself. I was telling you before, my daughter, her name's Reese, and she had Down syndrome. She loved Caleb because Caleb loved her, and he knew it. And kids with special needs can see things, sense things that maybe other folks. He would be interviewed by ESPN, all these college recruiters, whatever, after a game. She'd stand over to the side, and he would intentionally come over there and get a picture and say, "Come on, Reese, let's get our picture." It was in those things right there. Right, as a dad and as a coach at youth camp. He could have been doing a lot of things. He's over here with our little 5 and 6 year olds. Every year, all 4 years, he came in and helped, donate time for that. Even right now, The last 2 years, he has a Trust Downs youth camp. He pays for every bit of it for everybody in our community to come to a youth camp. He puts it on, gives them T-shirts, gives them all that stuff, and it's in our high school stadium. So, this is before he's even gone pro. You know what I'm talking about? So he wants to give back. So those are things that makes him special. He's already got a lot of things on and off the field, but the way that he cares about other people, I think what Dallas is going to see is the things that he's involved in with your local whatever is as a person. Caleb Downs is going to make a huge impact as well.
Yeah, it seems like he is beyond just a remarkable football player, but a remarkable human being as well. And you can always tell when you hear from people who knew somebody back when, and I know his high school career wasn't that long ago, but you can tell from the way that people talk about them, and it's the things they don't say that maybe tell as much as what they do say. And not everybody has people tell stories about them the way that you're telling stories about Caleb Downs. So it speaks to the relationship that you have with him, but also the relationship that he has with the people that are around him. And that speaks volumes for a kid that is only 21 years old, won't turn 22 until the middle of December. I'm wondering what your perspective is relative to how you expect the locker room to embrace Caleb, to react to Caleb, to eventually follow Caleb.
That's a great question. In fact, that's one of the, several, just like y'all are reaching out, several of the NFL scouts, whatever, would reach out and say, okay, we now can see from college, where was he in high school, the developmental, how was he act, how did he do whatever. One of the toughest questions that I think was very on point is going like, when he came in as a freshman at high school, he had to take a sophomore, junior, senior, whatever job. I mean, he's a freshman. It's rare air that a freshman starts at a 6A program in Georgia, let alone his town. So how did he handle that by taking someone else's job? Because it's going to happen, hopefully, at Dallas. I'll be honest. I mean, they drafted him for a reason. Somebody's going to be at safety that has been a veteran, has been there longer than him. Like you said, he's a 21-year-old. How does he handle that? And then how does he deal with that? So my answer is this. He's going to probably, if I know Caleb, he's going to be very, number one, prepared. I think preparation is an opportunity for success, not only individually, but also gaining the credit of those around you. If you come around, and whether it's a meeting or whether it's a player, if you know somebody's sharp and knows what they're doing, it's easy to like them. It's easy to sit there and want to follow them. It's easy to want to work with them. So he's going to put the preparation in. I think the number one thing he's going to do, he's going to get in the playbook. If he hadn't, or he's already had it, and he's already studied the heck of it, because he wants to have confidence in that. I think he's going to, in a sense, be quiet in his role and allow the role come to him, and then he'll be the alpha before long. I mean, I would bet on it for sure. But he's going to do it the right way, and he's already had to do that in high school. Let's be honest. At Alabama, he had to do the same thing. He's a freshman that came in at a program that's not known to have freshmen play, and had to earn the respect of others around him. So I don't think it'd be any problem at all.
So last thing I think here for you, Coach, because I can only imagine that in the last week or so you have had a lot of people cross your path in the hallways at the high school that want to talk with you about the fact that Caleb got drafted. And I can only imagine how many times you've been asked, what do you expect he's going to do? What do you think he's going to do? How do you think it's going to go? You have seen this kid from his freshman year all the way through. You have counseled him through his collegiate career as well. You have seen this kid grow up from, at the very least, 14 to now 21, and you tell me maybe even longer than that. What do you expect his professional career to look like as he takes on the challenge of being a Dallas Cowboy?
Wow. Tough question, but I refer to the law of the lid. In Caleb, I never found the lid. And what I mean by that is we all want to fill a cup up as much as you can, to be full as you can, but you don't want to go too full because then you'll have a mess. But you want to get as much in there. Caleb was always youth ball. He had 100 touchdowns. He was always a dominant player. High school, as far as his lid was never really. We had to taper his lid as far as what we put in, not because of him, because of the people around him. Same with college. I think you've done your research. Saban was his position coach, one of his position coaches in the secondary. That's his wheelhouse. He's one of his top players that he loved, and that's not easy coming from that guy. Now I'm telling you, I know Coach Saban. There is a high mark as far as what you expected and how you expect to do it on and off the field. I mean, he is known to be a little ornery on that, and for him to get that. So my point in all this is, I don't think there's a ceiling that he's going to strive. I think he's going to be a rookie of the year. Right? I mean, just as me being biased, but he's going to at least be in the rookie teams. And I'm telling you, within 2 to 3 years, he's going to be all pro once he gets a system and they build around him. I really believe that there's not a lid on what Caleb Downs can do, even in the NFL.
It certainly seems that way, Coach. Thank you. Thank you very much, for your perspective on this young man, because I think we are all looking forward to getting to know him better and lucky that we're going to get to know him a little bit better during his time as a Dallas Cowboy. Josh Lovelady, the head coach at Mill Creek High School in Georgia, Caleb Downs High School coach, joining the show. Coach, thank you very much. We really appreciate it.
Thank y'all.